Now I'm going to take my lead rope and I'm just going to put it here as if it were a cinch, and just see how, on the ground before I sit on her. Weight on her. Is how to get that head nice and relaxed. So I want to rock her head back and forth, left to right. Now ask her for counter flexion. Good. I'm testing if she's reactive at all, if she's pissy at all. Ask her to walk forward. Now I'm going to rub on that area where the cinch goes, that girth, and I'm not feeling any reactivity to that. This is where I'll feel it. Horses that are cinching and going to buck, they will be real ticklish right here.
So realistically, it's probably just the fact that she knows that if she builds a fit and that sit on it, take off the saddle.
Most likely. Now you have to consider how's that fast saddle fitting on her back.
Right. I'll be curious to see what you say about that.
Yeah.
It's not cinching. Baby.
Now I'm going to take my lead rope and I'm just going to put it here as if it were a cinch, and just see how it feels to her, see how she responds. So far, I really haven't found very many issues at all with her as far as being pissy about what I ask her to do, about being girthy at all. She seems pretty good with this lead rope when I squeeze. I'm testing girthiness here. I tested girthiness by laying on her back and then rubbing her on her rib cage, and she just seems nice and relaxed. So we're going to go ahead. I've taken her through all the groundwork that I feel like I need right now to test out how the saddle is on her. So we'll go ahead and saddle her. Now right there, she was shaking her back, and probably from flies, but it was moving that pad back about 4 inches by the time I went and grabbed the saddle. Just something to take note of. She is a very wide horse. So we're not dealing with a back cinch right now, a rear cinch. Probably they don't use a rear cinch on her, which is fine. Now, all the horses that I take into training, I make sure and teach them how to be comfortable with the rear cinch, just in case their riders use a rear cinch. I like to use a rear cinch for roping, for riding in real steep country in the mountains. Okay, first of all, that cinch is
Too long.
Too long. It may not be too long. I'm going to go the other side and see if I can shorten it up a little, but I probably want it down a little lower before if I start to cinch it up here, we're going to run out of room because we only have about 3 inches before we run out of room. So I'm going to go the other side. Yeah, so she's got plenty of room to change on this side. I'm going to go up 2. That should be about right. So this is a good length of cinch for her. It's probably a 34 or 36 inch cinch. She's a nice wide character. This is good length for her. She just needed it changed on the other side. That's about right. Now, before I start to tighten it up, I'm going to tighten and release, tighten and release. And I'm just watching for a change. So she's kind of looking at me there, release. I'd say generally she's pretty relaxed to that. I'm going to snug it up, but I'm not going to snug it up right tight, what I call right tight. I'm just going to snug it up enough to where the saddle's not going to slip when I start lunging her and moving her feet. Ride tight is when I really snug it up nice and tight before I get on and ride. You don't want that cinch to be loose and the saddle to slip on her, especially a horse like her who's such wide backed. You have to make sure you got a wider saddle, definitely a full bars, quarter horse saddle. And then you have, you got to get that cinch nice and snug. But to start out, to test her, I don't want this cinch to be so tight that I automatically create a problem in and of itself. I want to be tight enough where the saddle's not going to slip, but loose enough where she's not going to throw a fit because she's feeling that pressure. And this is just what I do with all my horses. Even the horses that are well trained, I cinch them at least, I tighten it up at least twice, if not 3 times before I ride. Some people I'll see, they'll just snug that up as hard as they can and then get on and go. That's going to create a problem in the future with some horses. So I like to just be nice and easy to them. There's room for her to breathe more easily. She's not going to feel totally claustrophobic to that cinch, but it's going to stay on. Okay, now we could know that she's a little tender on her front end. So take that in consideration. And then I've taken her through all the groundwork. Now I'm going to repeat that groundwork with the saddle on and see how she is. Does she change or is it all the same?
You think the saddle fits her pretty well?
I think this saddle fits decently. With a back as wide as hers, it's hard to find.
It's so hard.
You know, honestly, one of the things I would do is probably use a different pad. You're padded extra where the tree meets the withers. You want to unpad in that area. So you want a saddle a saddle pad that has less padding in that area.
It kind of sinks down.
Sinks in. Yep, okay, that'll take away your pressure. That's probably your biggest issue right here. The saddle's quite wide, but your pad is too thick.
Too thick right there.
Yeah, right there. Like Clinton Anderson's PRS pad, he has it designed exactly for that.
Yep.
You know, it's $350 probably, but you can also, I mean, people will shave down parts of the pad like that. Wherever there's pressure, you want to take away pad. Yeah. People want to pad up because they think, oh, there's pressure there, so we need to pad it more. No, you need to unpad it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if she'll back up. See, some horses that are real girthy and bothered by the squeeze of that cinch, they will not want to back up because it feels like they're backing into pressure. So that's why I wanted to teach her to back first. And there she backed pretty lightly, so I'm not concerned about that. Send her.
But see, she's getting the point.
Yeah, her tail is showing a little bit of irritation. That's the biggest thing, right?
That's what I see, and I've just never had a mare that's like that. But I see mares all the time like that, and I'm like, I don't know. To me, it looks like an attitude problem.
Oh. And the tail swishing just a little bit right to left. I usually won't even try to correct that because a lot of mares that are real dominant and hard-headed.
Which she is.
they'll get irritated if you try to correct their irritation,
Okay.
and it tends to make them more pissy. So
Once
just
again, it's just like a human, right?
yeah, just if she's responding how you want her to respond, even though she's swishing her tail a little,
Just ignore that.
notice how she's not swishing her tail
Yeah.
almost at all now. Just ignore it and just like it's not happening.
Okay.
Now, if I get a mare that gets really pissy and starts pinning her ears and looking at me like I'm going to get you, then I'm coming after her with some
Yeah.
pressure. Because I don't want her to start to think she can do that and actually act aggressive towards
Right.
me. But if she's feeling a little bit irritated, I just ignore it, and usually that goes away. And every once in a while, you get a mare that just is kind of an irritable mare, you know. But I don't see her as that type.
Okay.
She, like right now, she's pretty relaxed. I'm gonna ask her to speed up. We have a quarter horse gelding. His name is Doolin. And we used to give lessons on him, but we figured out that we needed to stop that because he had a tendency, if he can figure out that he can get away with something, he will. And so kids, he would start rooting down to the ground. He didn't want to move forward. He would start crow hopping.
Oh, yeah.
And when I get on him, he's like this beautiful quarter horse that just does all these maneuvers and stuff. But if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, he'll totally take advantage of them.
Right, and that's why I always say lesson horses are the biggest blessings because they're the ones that are going through all that crap with people who don't know what they're doing. But
Absolutely.
it's a lot of work and a lot of patience on their behalf.
Yeah, they have to have a lot of patience. Now, she picked up the wrong lead there.
Yeah.
Slow her back down, ask her again. There's the right lead. See, her tail is quiet right here. Change back to the way we were going. Whoa. So I really like what I'm seeing here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cinch her up, ride tight. So I'm going to cinch her up pretty dang tight. And now let's see how she responds to that. So I'm cinching her this is about as tight as I want her when I'm riding her. The way I test the tightness is I grab the saddle horn and I just pull pretty hard. And if I feel a slip, I know it's too loose. And her, of course, she's so wide that it's hard to get it tight enough.
It is. It's like a barrel.
And that's one thing that makes some horses like this have a more tendency to be cinchy because you actually have to tighten them more if you don't have a saddle that's just fits them just right. But if they're mutton backed, it's hard. They don't have any withers or very little withers. It's tough. So she's swishing her tail a little bit. But again, I notice it, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to it. Years ago, I used to, if they started swishing their tail, I'd put their feet to work and yield their hindquarters and back them up. And I'd do all kinds of stuff trying to get them to stop swishing their tail. And eventually, I just decided it wasn't helping. It was just making it worse.
It wasn't doing anything.
Huh.
It's not really a problem. It's just it's like
A tick, yeah. Yeah. It's just
like
something.
a bad habit.
And most likely, the more, if you're a good horseman and you ride that horse correctly, a lot of that's going to go away. Some of those
Exactly.
pissy mares, they start to really like being with you, and then
Yep.
they're nice and relaxed,
Yep.
and they're not getting angry, or because it's not an anxiety, it's just an irritation, right? Oh, I like her ears. Now I'll go through the other stuff real quickly because we basically kind of figured out that she's not girthy.
Right.
I don't think that's her problem at all. She feels a little irritated if, like, as I get closer to her, she's a little more irritable. And you'll just have to play it by ear when it comes to other people riding her for lessons. Whether, you know, if you can work with her and her behavior, you can modify her behavior, and then it kind of stays pretty good. But if she starts getting more pissy, then you work with her again. And if you can manage that, then she might be a great lesson horse. But if she really goes south because people are giving her cues that she doesn't understand and she's getting frustrated and they're not releasing their pressure and that kind of thing, then, you know, she may not be a good lesson horse.
Yeah.
But as far as her mind, her attitude really isn't very bad at all. It's pretty decent attitude. Everything I see, and she's not a reactive horse. She's not cinchy. She has all the makings of a good lesson horse. Her tail is nice and quiet. Actually, yesterday on the Reata Horsemanship family group, I did a video about a horse that didn't like work. And so I just made the assumption that this horse gets squirrely and ornery and starts like swishing her tail and pinning her ears and that kind of thing. The main takeaway from that video was get in and get out. So what happens is I stress the need for groundwork, and so people will do a lot of groundwork, but they frustrate the horse during that groundwork because it's not about how much groundwork do I do, it's about how effective is my groundwork and how clear am I in my communication and how well do I respond to their response to my request. So when she does something I ask her, do I release at the right time?
Right. Are you communicating?
Am I communicating? Yep. And if I'm not, then they're going to get pissy. And I said, most likely that horse that you're dealing with is in that category. Every once one in 100 horses is going to be different. Where she's just an angry mare, and it's really hard. You have to have the right person to handle that kind of horse, and she's going to be dangerous for a person that doesn't know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, what's up? Like as far like you need to have to come back. Oh, I'm sure it will. She's from the average size. It does. The size does matter. Yeah, she would probably fit in the video, but she'd probably be better off Awesome.
Let's take her through on pass through.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Okay, keep going. No.
You know, as far as like training with her, like obviously she's got a lot of holes that are not there. Like she's got a lot of solidness to her. My biggest concern would be, could she handle a lot of loping in the arena without getting more tender, you know, without, like, is her front feet are my biggest concern. That's it.
Yeah.
Let me do a little bit of desensitizing to rest with her, and then do you mind if I just work real quickly from the ground with the bridle in her mouth?
No, not at all.
Just,
I am going to take off, though. Do you guys have a problem putting the stuff back in the tack room?
not at all.
And just locking it for me? That's my tack room.
Okay.
And all you have to, there's just a chain there. Actually.
So saddle pad and
yep,
bridle?
You'll see that the bridle will, she has her name labeled on there.
Okay.
It says Halo, and then you'll...
I'll just desensitize the rest real quick. I don't think she's going to be reactive to this. She's raising her head just a little bit. So I want to finish out this session just desensitizing to rest, making sure that she's not worried about the stick and string. Just with her head raising like it is, she probably hasn't had a lot of this, but most horses haven't. Most horses, you start swinging that stick and string beside them and they think you want them to move. Some horses I get in for training and I start this like that and they just take off running because some people, that's what their cue is to get their horse to move. And my cue is point, cluck, and then ask them to move with my stick and string. Use that stick and string as a third cue. And otherwise, if I'm not pointing or not clucking and my body's relaxed, I'm telling my horse to just relax. That this stick and string means relax. And they start craving this stick and string instead of being afraid of it. And Halo is doing really well with this. She's not bothered by that. I'm not going to go all the way around her because I don't want to mess a good thing up. We don't have time for that now. But I do want to try this side. Little worried about that string. And when you do desensitize to rest, make sure that you are pretty good at swinging this string, the stick and string. You make sure you can do that figure eight. Make sure you can do that bull whip. Make sure you can do that windmill. Make sure you can do that helicopter. And if you can't, practice away from your horse. Make sure you practice a lot away from your horse and then start approaching your horse. And the first thing you want to do is make sure to turn away from your horse and practice over here. You're connected to your horse with your lead rope, but you're going to practice here. If you practice here, facing your horse, you're going to end up hitting your horse on accident. Is it the worst thing in the world to hit your horse on accident? No, you just pretend like it didn't happen and keep going, and they'll forgive you for it. If they see intention that you're trying to hurt them, and they can tell that you're trying to get them, then they're gonna be upset about that. But even if they get a little bit upset, if they get hit accidentally by this, don't worry about it. Just pretend like it didn't happen and practice some more. She looks really good. The other thing that Gina mentioned about Halo that she said was kind of a problem is she said she's real stiff with a bridle with a bit in her mouth, that she doesn't respond very well. So I have my tennis shoes on. I'm not going to get on her, but I'm going to just do a little bit of bridle work on the ground and see if I can get her to soften up a little bit before we call it quits today. I'm making the assumption that this bridle is at the right length for her, but we'll see. If it's not, I'll change it. Okay, and this is also a question asked of me from my members, is how to get that head nice and relaxed. So I want to rock her head back and forth, left to right. As she lowers the head, then I'm going to take the head stall, my left hand, bring it across the bridge of her nose, up between her eyes, reach between her ears, and grab that bridle. And I'll come underneath with my bit hand, so I'm going to go actually between the shanks on the bit and grab it like this. Then use my thumb to ask her to open her mouth, so she doesn't have any issue at all opening her mouth for that bit. There's no curb chain on this bit. So if I were using this bit, I would certainly put a curb chain on. I don't like to just have the bit hanging there. You might pull it through their mouth if something goes haywire. You want something connecting under here. So that's going to make this a little bit different, asking her to flex to this. We'll see how it goes. So I want to see, first of all, how she laterally flexes. We worked on lateral flexion with the lead rope. Let me turn her a little bit this way. And now I'm going to work on lateral flexion with this bit. Good girl. That's pretty good. That's fairly light. Change sides. Good girl. Lateral flexion. Beautiful. Again, lateral flexion. Now I'm going to go to counter flexion, go to the opposite side. You always want to make sure that your horse can respond to this bit while on the ground before you get on. If your horse loses her composure and she doesn't know how to respond to this bit, then you're going to make the problem worse, because when you pull up on the rein, she's going to overreact to that pressure in her mouth. You want her to respond, not react to the pressure. Good. Change sides. Notice when I'm changing sides, I'm already starting to work with her on asking her to move her feet over instead of me moving my feet around her. Now ask her for counter flexion. Good. One more. It's pretty good. Now from here, I can ask for vertical flexion. I'm going to pick up on both reins. So I like to just keep my hand up here rested on the pommel of the saddle. You can do it up here in front too, but it feels awkward for my shoulder when I do that. So I just like to be right back here. I rest my arm on the saddle, on the seat and the pommel, my elbow on the seat, my forearm on the pommel, and then I just pick up with both hands. And I'm just going to wait on her. I'm not pulling very hard at all. I'm picking up with about probably 5 pounds of pressure, maybe less. See how she's trying to figure it out? She's chewing on that bit. She's pretty good at lateral flexion, but she doesn't know how to vertically flex. So we're going to take care of that in just a couple minutes here. Pick up with light pressure and just wait on her. She's raising her head. She's fighting that bit. She's chewing on it. She's trying to figure out a way out of this pressure. And I'm not going to put a lot of pressure, just enough for her to try to figure her way out of it. If she's not trying to figure her way out of it, then probably you don't have enough pressure. That's kind of my rule of thumb. Now she's moving her feet. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for her to vertically flex, to get soft vertically. So where the line of pressure is towards my hand, from the shank to my hand, I want her to give that way, give that direction. So her muzzle is going to go towards her neck and her chest, straight down. I'm waiting on her. This is a mare that in just a couple days is going to get really pretty light in her mouth. So she's there. She gave me just a little bit. I'm going to give back to her. Ask again. See, I'd rather get most of this out of the way on the ground before I sit on her. Wait on her. Wait on her. Right there. Give back to her. Ask again. The harder you try at this, the worse it's going to get. Meaning, if you feel like you have to pull hard on the reins to get it done, you're going to exhaust yourself and you're going to hurt your horse's mouth, and you're going to create a huge problem because you're asking too much of your horse. But if you pick up enough pressure where she wants to find a way out of it, then she starts to problem solve, and this is the key to horsemanship. Are you putting your horse in a puzzle or in a bind and letting her figure it out? The bind I'm putting in her in is the pressure in her mouth. And now she's starting to figure out how to get rid of that pressure by tipping her nose towards her chest. Smart little girl, isn't she? Smart big girl. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Smart little girl. Right there. Good. Right there. So when I say there, she's given to me. See, and just literally a couple minutes ago, she was bracing against that bit. And here's another reason why you need that curb chain on there. You know, that bit is too floaty in her mouth. There's too much room. It's just kind of hanging down there when she drops her head.
Some leverage.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is leverage. So you want your horse to learn to give to pressure. The pressure she's going to feel right here. If you put a curb chain on and you pick up here, it's going to pull that curb chain up into her chin. Now, why do you want her to be able to do that? Because you don't want her to overreact when somebody else comes to her and they put a bridle on her that has a curb chain, and then they pick up and she hasn't felt that before and she feels claustrophobic and starts to throw her head and maybe start to rear. So I want her to get used to feeling that pressure and giving to it. So she feels pressure here, she feels pressure on the top of the pole, and she feels pressure in her mouth. A minimum, those 3 spots on the bars of her mouth. Now, depending on the bit, you can have 4 or sometimes 5 different points of pressure. But we'll just assume the 3 points of pressure, the corners of the mouth, the chin, and the top of her head, the pole between her ears. Little pressure, release. Pressure, now right there, she's trying to root down, release. Pressure, release. So it's not dropping her head that I want. If she lowers her head, which she naturally will start to do, that's fine, but I'm not looking for her to drop her head. I'm looking for her to give to the pressure, and that means tipping that nose this direction, the direction the reins are going. Right there. Right there. Right there. Beautiful. Right there. Oh, this horse, she's cool. So I'm going to recommend to Gina that she put the curb chain on this bridle and make sure to use that so that she can teach her to give to that pressure. When she feels that pressure, that otherwise most horses will feel claustrophobic and want to get out of it by raising their head, we want her to come to that pressure, give to that pressure. And this horse, Halo, she's a great horse. She's got a good attitude. She's nice and relaxed. Look how relaxed and calm she is. She's really a nice horse. I think Gina's going to enjoy her. As long as we can get those front feet figured out, she's going to be a great horse for her. She's only 4 years old. Thanks everybody for watching House Calls with Luke. I can't wait to come to your house and work with your horse on the next House Calls with Luke. Until next time, be thankful, live with purpose, live with passion, and as always, stay safe in the saddle.